movie is about Donna Stern, played by Jenny Slate, who gets dumped, fired, and pregnant just in time for Valentine's Day. That's our elevator pitch. But it's really about a woman who is trying to figure out, she's just growing up. You know, she's not very confident in the beginning of the story. She's lets things just happen to her, and she's not really taking charge of her life. And I think through the course of the movie, while it's very subtle, she does change a little bit, and she gains more confidence towards the end.
And abortion is one of the themes of this film. Mm-hmm. And that's very unusual, especially for it to be wrapped in a very positive way. Talk about that decision.
Well, in 2009, my best friends and I wanted to make this movie, Anna Bean and Karen Main. And we were sort of disenchanted and frustrated by the limited representation of women, real women in movies, and unplanned pregnancy in movies. And instead of waiting and waiting, we decided to go out and make this on our own. And we did. We shot this movie in 4 days. Jenny was in it. This was before she was on SNL. She was a stand-up comedian that we met in the Brooklyn comedy scene. I love stand-up. I'm not one, she is. And I was in awe of her performance on stage. Within 5 minutes, I knew that she had to be in this movie. We were looking for somebody who was funny and lewd and had a lot of heart, and we had a hard time finding that actor. But when I went to the Big Terrific show and saw her, I knew she had to be in this movie.
So the first film you made was like, what, 22 minutes or something?
Yeah, 22 minutes.
And then what happened?
It had a very sweet festival run, but what really happened was we put it on Vimeo. We put it on the internet, and it just took off from there. Jezebel, Bust, Bitch Magazine, Feministing were so supportive of this film in a way that I didn't know they would latch on that way. And then 40,000 people watched this little short. And that inspired me to turn this into a feature.
So there's this piece in Slate, characters who have or are just thinking about having an abortion often die. The figures are amazing. I want to read this piece by Roxanne Campsey, just a little bit of it. Okay. Life on screen can be dangerous if you're a woman faced with an unplanned pregnancy. A new study has found Hollywood grossly exaggerates the risk of abortion. While the number of plot lines featuring abortion has grown in recent decades, movies and television shows often kill off characters for even just contemplating the possibility of this procedure. It is quite astounding. Of the 310 movies and episodes that featured abortion as a major plot line or featured an abortion provider as a main character, a striking 9% portrayed the death of a woman after having or even deciding on abortion. That's pretty incredible.
Wow.
So you show it in a very different way. Mm-hmm. And it's in the clinic itself,
right.
You work with Planned Parenthood?
We did. The last iteration of the script, we sent it to Planned Parenthood. We wanted their support. We wanted to shoot in Planned Parenthood. In the short, we shot in an orthopedic doctor's office. And I wanted this to be an authentic experience for moviegoers. And so we sent the script to Planned Parenthood just to make sure everything was accurate. How a doctor at a Planned Parenthood would speak to a patient, the look and feel of what a Planned Parenthood looks like. You know, it's beautifully lit. It's walls are, not scary or stale. It's nice and warm in Planned Parenthood, and I didn't want to show a place that was inaccurate.
So I wanted to compare how your film deals with abortion with others, like Juno. You have the main character going into a women's health clinic to get an abortion. She's met by a classmate outside who's holding a sign that says, "No babies like murdering."
All babies want to get born. All babies want to get born. All babies want to get born. Hey, Soo-chin. Oh, hi, Juno. Your baby probably has a beating heart, It can feel pain. And it has fingernails. Fingernails? Really?
So Juno goes inside, and she's haunted by her classmates saying the baby has fingernails, and she's looking at everyone's fingers, and the receptionist is she's tapping on something like she's playing a video game or she's texting or something, and she is just freaked out. It's not a very warm experience, and she runs out.
No, and I'm sure that's an experience that some women do have. I am lucky. I live in New York. I don't.
It's one of the first places that abortion was legal.
Right, and I wanted to show this particular story without protesters, because that not every time you go to Planned Parenthood or a clinic to do anything from getting a mammogram to, just getting a checkup. You don't interact. You don't always interact with protesters. So I just wanted to show that side. And while I know that there are many clinics that have protesters standing outside, that's been depicted in movies before. I've seen that, and I know that exists. So let's show the other side.
Mm-hmm. How much of this film is you?
It was a collaborative effort. I had many strong female women voices to help write this story. Some of it we took from our lives, and some of it was made up.
It's a big deal, even today, in a sex scene in a movie for one of the characters to reach for a condom. That is very rare, let alone to make a major part of the film about abortion. And yet, you come to the Sundance, and it's like the second film sold. It's sold for 7 figures. This is a huge message.
Maybe people are just really ready to see this and have been dying to see something like this. They just didn't know.
So it's the 41st anniversary of Roe v. Wade. What are your thoughts as we do this interview?
I know that women's rights are under attack, and that there are many states that have put new restrictions on women being able to have safe, positive abort procedures. I just think it's a really good time for people to tell their stories.
How do you feel this film will impact future films about abortion, since for the most part it has been either not dealt with or dealt with in very difficult ways, in many cases the woman meeting her doom?
Yeah, I don't know what the forecast is for other films, but my hope is that other filmmakers get excited about telling more honest and real stories, and that it ignites conversation, both sides.
Talk about, well, first, why is it called Obvious Child?
Well, it's the Paul Simon song, which is in the film. I listened to Paul Simon in the car growing up. My dad blasted it every weekend when we would go on little road trips, and he's just been a part of my childhood. And then I took a break from Paul Simon and revisited him in my 20s and had a whole different take on him. And I was no longer a little girl staring out the window. I was an adult woman, well, 20s, sort of adult woman. And I fell in love with him. And I thought it'd be great to put a sequence of somebody dancing around their apartment with a boy naked. To Rhythm of the Saints. It's a great song. It's got this sadness to it, but it's also upbeat. And that's my favorite type of music.
And what do you think of this film being described as a romantic comedy about abortion?
I'm okay with it being described as a romantic comedy. I don't think it is a romantic comedy about abortion. I think we deal with the romance and the comedy about her life. There is no comedy or sarcasm or jokes about abortion. So that sort of tagline, I don't think is true to what the film is actually about.
It's hard to believe that in 2014 you're breaking new ground when it comes to just dealing with what so many women deal with every day. But when it comes to Hollywood, which takes risks in a lot of ways, it's you, actually, who are breaking ground and making this a an experience that many women have and have to deal with.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
No, you were supposed to respond to that.
I don't know how to respond to that. Hollywood, my phone number is.